First off, congratulations, Coach Sweeney, and a very good football team. Boy, very athletic football team, big. You realize how big they are until you're standing down there next to them. But they do a great job over there, and congrats to them. I thought our kids played extremely hard, continue to fight. I think they're a bunch of fighters in that room, right, Georgie? And the thing I love about this team is we stay true to who we are, and that's a team that will continue to play to the last whistle. And disappointed in the loss, but proud of the fact the kids played extremely hard. I'd like also to thank all the folks from the 10th Mountain Division up at Fort Drum who spent good time with us. Speaking to the team last night, Captain Greg Durso had a great message for us, as well as Shane, Sergeant First Class Shane Hankey. Just great men. Seen a lot of ugly things, so we could sit here and talk about a football game. And love those guys, love them to death. And just really appreciative of what they've done with our kids, right, Georgie? So with that being said, obviously difficult situation. Can't spot number one team in the country, 14 points in the first 2 minutes of the game. And we were disappointed with that. And once we washed that off ourselves, I thought our kids played extremely hard. I thought we played effective football. I thought our offense did a nice job keeping Clemson guessing, especially in the option game, the triple and double option game. Missed a couple deep throws that could have really given us a push there, but very good job, our kids and coaches. Second half defense played extremely well. Good turnover ratio. By the end of the game, we ended up +2, I believe, right? Finished at +2. Usually when you're +2, you find a way to win that game. Unfortunately, we came up short. Everybody's going to be back for a long time around here. These kids are learning how to play football. Cordell Hudson felt terrible about giving up the first one, but he played a sensational game after that. I think he had 8 solos. TFL was in the hip pocket of one of the best wide receivers in the country on some deep and double move balls. So I see great progress being made. I see good progress being made on the perimeter with our young corners, fighting to get off some big guys that are big and seasoned veterans. So there's a lot of good there from my point of view. Just look forward to getting back, getting a game plan ready to go down to NC State and get after them. With that, any questions?
Please raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone to you. We'll start in the back.
Sorry, Coach. Like you said, take away the first 2 minutes and you beat the number one team in the country. So does that make you feel better or worse about?
Well, I like the way the kids played. We're trying to just get better all the time, and they did get better throughout the course of the game. So a hard one to swallow because, we were in a position that we could play and beat this team. We talked about if we can get it to a 7-point game, our crowd would help us. And I felt we got to that point, 7-point game in the fourth quarter. And I appreciate the fans that came out. Appreciate the fans that continue to come out and support my players. We got good kids that do things right, so I appreciate that. Just came up short, unfortunately. Needed another stop there or another play there in the fourth quarter to get it done. We were close. I like the call Coach made there at the end. Obviously we got a flag on it. They called, I guess they called holding on it.
Matt,
Can't comment on that, I guess.
is there any update on Jordan Fredericks, and how do you think George did in his spot?
I think George is a very good football player, and he did a kick-ass job out there, George. I'm proud of you, man. George has done a good job being a team player. It's not easy when you go into the season hoping to be the man, and then you have to take a backseat to a young guy a little bit. And I've been proud of the way George has handled that as a young man. Jordan will be okay. We'll get a good check on his injury here. When I get away from you guys. But he seemed in good spirits when I talked to him after the game. His sling on. So.
Sam on the left.
What did you see from Zach, I guess, and how much of that game against LSU kind of helped him, prepare to face a team like Clemson?
Sure, yeah. I think he did a good job. I felt frustrated and mad and also sad at the same time on the one fumble early. We had a triple situation. He dug it down in there on the dive play, and he probably stuck it in there a little too long, and then he made the right read to pull it out and try to hit the perimeter, and the ball came out. So I know that one's beating us up, but He did a great job, don't you guys think? I mean, made some good plays with his feet, running around, made some good checks. You know, I mean, for him, he's living the dream just like all of us, and very pleased and proud of him. He's a great kid, and I'm glad he's on our football team. Anything else?
Mark in the back on the right.
Excuse me.
Scott, do you feel snake bit at all? It seems like every time things kind of go your way, you know, the big play with Ishmael, some of the
Yeah.
other big plays, and suddenly there's a flag or something.
Yeah, well, you know, it's football. You know, there's been seasons where they all went my way too over the years. You know, it's been a difficult couple seasons here with, you know, I've played, 7, 8 different starters at quarterback in 2 seasons. You know, if you'd have told me that 20 years ago when I got in coaching, if you'd have said, hey, there's going to be a couple seasons where you have to play 8 different quarterbacks, I said, no, what are you talking about, you know? So, but that's life, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to teach these kids how to endure and push through difficult times. Our times aren't very difficult, you know, compared to the real world. All the stuff, you know, obviously that happened in France, and you know, it's all about perspective. You know, my sister-in-law sent me a text before the game, and she said, hey, just keep your perspective, you know, there's other things going on in the world. I forget how she worded it. You know, and she's a survivor of leukemia, a wonderful human being. It's important. That's why I get upset, frustrated, and all those things, because it's important for us right now. But, you know, it's a great opportunity to teach our kids how to get through something that really isn't that difficult compared to a couple of things I just mentioned. So that's what coaching's all about. That's what teaching's all about. Doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't make you feel any better when you know, when you wake up in the middle of the night, you know, thinking about one play here or one play there. But it's a reality that we have to deal with. And as men, we need to, you know, just lead the way and teach these guys how to deal with it.
Middle on the left.
Hey Scott, on that your last drive on that 4th down, did you think about going for it there, and what ultimately was decided for you to punt the ball?
Well, we were thinking. I just felt like maybe if we got to stop and got them right off the football field, got the ball back to our offense, we'd have a shot to go. So we want to kick the ball, and Riley kicked the hell out of it. You know, we also had an opportunity to see what they were in, and a chance to maybe do something else with it. But we checked out of that, punted the ball, got the field position, and then, you know, you have to play defense and get that ball back to the offense. And unfortunately, we didn't do that.
Time for 2 more questions. Dan?
Scott, just looking at right in front, just looking at the almost this season, the LSU game, Clemson. Just talk about the almost and what it says about the program as a whole, and how you kind of handle it as a coach, and how you kind of try and teach these guys off of those LSU and Clemson games like today.
Sure, as well as Virginia and Pitt. You know, there's 4 games. We talk about it all the time, don't we, George? You know, it's a game of inches, and how can we find a way to, you know, to solidify 2 inches here, 2 inches there, and but we also talk about, you know, the ball isn't always going to bounce your way, and obviously this year's the best example of that. We've been in tight contests, but we come back to controlling the controllables. We go to class, we do what's right, and we keep working hard together. And the thing I'm most proud of is our kids never separate. You're as tight a team as I've been around. These guys are brothers to one another, and they have each other's backs, and you know, so those are just life lessons. But I think the biggest thing is perception. You know, perception. If you win those, you know, 3 or 4 games you just mentioned, all of a sudden, you know, we're way better than people thought we were supposed to be, but we didn't. So we came up short. So hopefully people can see the process moving forward, because we do, and we know the progress we're making.
Last question for Coach.
Scott, forgive me if you answered this. When you had that 4th and 9, kind of 6 minutes left, and you didn't get the ball back, did you consider at all going for it?
Briefly, 4th and 9, yes, briefly. And then we had timeouts on the clock. Our defense was playing better football. I thought if we could punt the ball down there, Riley hit the ball really well, as you guys know. Maybe we can get them backed up inside the 15-yard line or something, play field position football, go down the field, score at least a field goal, come back with a touchdown, or vice versa. There's enough time, as opposed to if we go 4th and 9, the chances of 4th and 9 are extremely weak from a percentage point of view at making that. And then all of a sudden,